So welcome back. I'm here with Pete Lesher from the Chesapeake Bay Maritime Museum. Pete, tell me a little bit about the organization.
Chesapeake Bay Maritime Museum has been around since 1965, so we're 60 years old. And in all that time, we have grown up really around the St. Michael's waterfront, transforming a place that was once a seafood town into a tourism destination. And in a way, allowing the town to reinvent itself as seafood industries were dying. But the founders had a vision for this place that was more than the St. Michael's story, more than the county story, even though it was a county historical society that founded us. It was to have a bay-wide scope, to talk about how this unique place, America's largest estuary, has shaped the cultures around it. And we are still doing that. We talk especially about the fisheries and about natural resource exploitation and conservation. We talk about this balance of tradition, the rootedness of the watermen in tradition, but also innovation, this spirit of innovation that we're always reinventing ourselves as well. The museum has grown up on this waterfront, 19 acres, and from the beginning, we were collecting watercraft. The sorts of boats that, from that dying age of sail, the famous Chesapeake Bay skipjacks, these oyster dredgers that people knew were on borrowed time back in the 1960s. So much was rapidly changing. The steamboats had all disappeared. The last of this last commercial fishing fleet in the United States still operating under sail was, we knew, on borrowed time. And we still have skipjacks, but no, they don't actually dredge under sail anymore. So we've seen a whole lot change over that time, but we remain as a museum of a living culture. And so it's been important to us not only to collect these objects and to conserve them in front of the public, to do this in our working shipyard where we preserve not only the ships, but the skills, passing them along to the next generation. Not only do we preserve these objects, but we also preserve the stories. And so we've got an active oral history program. We're at one of Maryland's regional folk life centers. And that is both about documentation, collection of these stories, but it's also about sharing them with the public. But whenever we can provide that direct connection to these tradition bearers, to the real deal. It's one of our core values, is conveying that authenticity.
That's tremendous. And how long have you been with Chesapeake Bay Maritime Museum?
I am, next month it'll be 34 years.
Wow.
So I've been with the museum for now more than half of its history. Been an important voice in shaping how we've collected, where we have gone over those years, what we have chosen to emphasize, how we have articulated our themes in the way, how the bay has shaped this place. I've gotten to play a role in all of that, and it's keeping me excited and engaged to be there after all of this time.
That's tremendous. That's tremendous. Now, do you have any projects coming up that you'd like to talk about?
We are working on a big new exhibition. We've just opened a little over a year ago a welcome center, a nearly 12,000 square foot building that is both our admissions, our gate, our museum store, a big function space, receptions and such, but also an exhibition hall. And in the main hall is a core exhibition. We call it Water Lines. We interpret our watercraft through human-centered stories. A story about the builder, a story about the user, a story about how a boat similar to this was used by a freedom seeker in the years leading up to the Civil War. And also there is a 2,000 square foot black box gallery in here that is not yet open. that will become an exhibition called Stories from the Shoreline. Again, storytelling based, but all the way, the Chesapeake Bay has this very convoluted shoreline. If you were to stretch it out, unravel, it would go for 8,000 miles. It's an incredibly long shoreline, and there is where all this opportunity is to interact, right? Because we're fundamentally land-based creatures. And so where we encounter the water is on the shoreline, and on the Chesapeake, there is all of this shoreline, all of that opportunity, which is why it has had such an incredibly impactful way of shaping the culture. It has defined us. It is how we identify in the place, whether you were born and raised there or whether you moved there last week. It begins to shape you. So this new exhibition will be about those encounters and the different ways that we have used that shoreline over time.
Wow.
Everything from waterfowling to baptisms.
Wow. It's an amazing museum. I recommend everybody go there. But we're also here at the CAMM Conference, the Council of American Maritime Museums Conference. You have been on the board of CAMM, I believe,
Yes.
for years. What are you bringing to this meeting, and what do you hope to take away?
Well, CAMM has been incredibly collegial. We've gotten together because we understand that maritime museums have something in common. We have similar types of collections and therefore similar challenges with them. The similar hazards of being in a place where a storm surge could damage us, but also similar challenges about how we interpret these collections, about how we make them relevant to new and changing audiences over time. And I value that collegial exchange, and I found that I found CAMM to be particularly a good forum for that type of sharing and informing one another. It's something that I'm proud to bring our successes, our challenges, our mistakes to the table, and to learn from others here as well.
Well, it's great. I can't thank you enough for your time today, Pete. And I look forward to chatting with you again.
Yes, indeed.
Okay, thanks so much.
Yes.